And you're doing it thinking that you're going to be the exception to the rule. And then you can go on social media and say, I climbed a mountain. That's it. I'm putting my flag here at the top of the mountain. No one's ever done it like me. When you don't realize what you're learning is misinformation. You have so many factors against you doing that shit, but it doesn't feel that way because you bought the book. You paid for the book. You took the time to read that book. You have now joined a religious cult. You think I'm a cult leader. That's a cult. Retail theory is a cult. It keeps doing the wrong shit that you all keep sipping the Kool-Aid thinking you're going to be able to get something out of that. You're getting the same shit, the same bullshit everybody else gets. Losses, drawdown, blown accounts, and misery and regret because you are falling in love with a market in a potential experience to change the course of your life, but you can't make it work with the shit that you're trying to spend money on. The smart ones say fuck this early and say I can't do this, and they don't ever invest any more money in the retail stuff, and they just say that nobody's making money. And it's not true, but largely it's true. So I had to go in between the overbought and oversold conditions with my retail bullshit that I was trying to use. And I come up with ways how I could go in and engage. And then once I was made privy to how markets are really booked and met with real market makers, not Goldman Sachs people, okay? None of that shit. Not trade desk managers that are controlling the flow for their customer base. That's not a market maker. You're a dealer. Okay. That's all you are. You are not making the price. You can engage and transact in that price feed at that very moment, but you are not fucking making the market. When you discover how all this shit is rigged and it's designed to do these certain things at certain times of the day to deliver a certain high or low, it changes everything. It changes everything. You quickly put aside the very shit that they're poisoning everybody else with. All the misinformation, all the bullshit, and you focus on the stuff that matters most. Where's the truth in all this stuff? If it's overbought, oversold, then that's what causes the market to go up and down. If it's supply and demand, and that causes the market to go up and down, then why the hell is it that that shit isn't making millionaires every single time someone sits down with it? Why aren't they all finding success? Why aren't they finding precision? They're not. Because it has a resemblance. It resembles something that they saw work in a book. And when I bought all these books and I bought all these courses and I subscribed and bowed my head down to all these gurus, I was a young man too. And I believe there's people out there that should have been worshipped, that should have been lifted up and held above everyone else. Heroes, titans. There is none. I'm not one of them. And your friend and family member on fucking social media that you think is growing to be into be some hero level shit. They're all people just like you and I. And the more they show the shit in hindsight and they can't teach it and prove that it can be transferable knowledge with precision based elements with time, then it's all just retail. And retail is just a catalyst. A good money manager can make money with retail. A good money manager can make money with a heads or tails flip of a coin. I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to be someone that knew exactly what the hell they're doing, why they're doing it, and if I am wrong, I'm okay with being wrong if I understand why I was wrong. But when I was using retail shit, it never made sense why my trade, when it would fail, I got stopped out. Why the fuck did this happen? The stochastics was coming down, the moving averages on all the time frames were going down. I had a fucking bear flag. Everything was going lower. And the people on CNBC, it was FNN back then, Financial News Network. Shit's different now. They were talking about, oh yeah, the market's gonna go, there's a bumper crop of soybeans, which means There's a lot more supply, so therefore the price shouldn't go uh, higher. So I'm going short. I got everything in my favor, right? I got the fundamentals. There's a bumper crop. So that means a whole lot of soybeans are hitting the market. There's no reason for it to go up. And here I am, I'm going short. I'm in there. It's already diverged bearishly. It's moving down. All the moving averages are sloping down. Everything looks fucking great. I'm looking to make 50 cents on this move. And what the fuck happens? It goes up 18 fucking cents in the same day. Now, how do you rationalize a response to that that makes sense, that's palatable? You don't. You put your fucking fist through the fucking monitor like I did, pick the fucking broken mechanism that was still resembling a monitor and throw it across the fucking room. That's how I coped with it. That's exactly how I coped with it. And I went through a lot of monitors, a lot of monitors like that. I wasn't prepared to have multiple monitors back then. I have a lot of monitors now, but if I didn't know how to trade, it would be very, very costly for me to have that coping skill today. So I had to go in and figure out why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if I'm wrong, I'm okay with being wrong because I understand I'm wrong. The market's right. I'm wrong. The market's right. So I have to do what? I have to align myself with the market, not align myself with the guru's logic. I got to align myself with an indicator. Fuck, I do. I don't need to do that. I need to align myself with the open, high, low, and close. That's what I'm aligning with. That's why my charts are naked. That's why I'm showing you only annotations to take your attention to a very specific element about a candle, a level, not a fucking zone. Okay. When I'm talking about a fair value gap, what levels am I talking about? The highest point of the fair value gap, the exact middle of the fair value gap, and the low of the fair value gap. That's three finite levels. It's not a zone. I'm not going out there and pulling one out of my ass and saying, well, we're going to do a supply zone here or a demand zone here. And where are you going to buy in that? Where are you going to sell in that? That's why it's a fallacy. It's all bullshit. It leaves enough subjectivity so that way they can always go back and say, look at this zone. Look how it reacted in this zone. Fuck that. I'm telling you a very specific level. Fuck everything else. Everything else is bullshit. I'm telling you exactly when these gaps should not fill. So that means what level should you be focusing on? The high end of it or the low end of it, not the middle, not the opposing end of it. See a difference there? That took decades to get that. That took decades to know with confidence that I'm going to be able to take this trade, enter here, my stop loss should be right here, laser precise. A lot of prayer. And that still quiet voice taught me that. When nobody, not like what you're hearing here, a foul mouth, manic, I had nobody sitting next to me encourage me along. And I had to become a fiend and dismiss everything and everyone around me. Relationships, friends, hobbies, all of that. I cast it aside. And all of my waking consciousness was poured into this. While driving a truck with my left foot laying up on the steering wheel, steering, while I'm eating a cup of fucking noodles, I'm looking at a chart book going across the Key Bridge. Is that safe? Nope. But I was dialed the fuck in. High winds could have pushed me into the Jersey Wall part of the bridge, and it caused all kinds of accidents. That's how recklessly I was pouring myself into this all day long, all day long, sleeping sometimes 3 hours, maybe, and getting up and doing the same thing. On Saturday, driving down to Fayette Street to a nursing home to fill their vending machines from my car, my Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive white car. I've always preferred white. Go down there, service that. The whole time, the markets aren't trading, but I got chart books laying in front of me in the machines as I'm putting candy bars in there. I'm pouring myself into it. Maniac. That was how it was. And you have to have that same tenacity. You have to know that you're going to do this no matter what. Anybody that's around you that's telling you negative shit that you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you're wasting your time. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them. Because I'm gonna tell you, every one of my fucking friends, when I first started doing this shit, they said, "You're crazy. You're gonna lose your ass." I lost my first account and second account and third account. I did. But you're listening to me now, aren't you? You're seeing all these other people that do what I'm teaching and they're making money. You're seeing your charts paint just like how I taught you it would. My friends and family said I was going to fail. They said this was never going to work. I would never figure this out. It would always be a gamble. It would never be a way for you to be able to time the markets. You can't do it. I'm taking you live into 1 minute candles, and I'm telling you exactly what the fuck it's doing before it happens. Perfectly. I was not going to fail. I was not going to be talked out of this. I was not going to be influenced negatively to the point where I would admit failure and go and run off into my life and do whatever the fuck I was going to be doing. Fuck that. I have lived this. November 5th, 1992, 9 p.m. on a Thursday night in Chase, Maryland. That's where I was. When Inner Circle Trader was born, that's the birthday. I came into this world on August 8th, 1972, 7:11 p.m. That was my actual birth date. But Inner Circle Trader was born November 5th, 1992, at 9 p.m. on a Thursday evening in the family room of my aunt and uncle's house that I was paying room and board $50 a week. That day, I remember it. I was so excited. I was so excited. I'm going to make $1,000 a month and I'm going to retire at 40. That was how I started this whole journey. That was my plan. And it morphed and evolved and became a obsession. And I said many times, maybe this isn't for me when I was losing my accounts, not knowing how to trade initially as a 28-year-old. I just was trying too hard to do too fast, over trading, not understanding risk management, trusting the patterns more than understanding the character flaws that I was bringing to it, which is I demand precision. I demand immediate response in price. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it faster than I wanted to expect it before I put the trade on. They're all unrealistic expectations, especially for someone that had no experience. So over years of losing, blowing my account, working really hard, doing part-time job, only on the one single day of the week, which was Sunday, I was delivering pizza on Sundays because my vending job wasn't paying me enough. I made $183 after taxes in my check, and my boss paid me under the table $50 in one. Now think about that. $183 a week and 51s. And they're trying to sell a book for $30. That $30 book was a lot of money to me. So on Sunday, I'd go down to Middle River with my Domino's uniform on, grab my sign, put it on top of my car, and go out there and do magic tricks for kids at the door when I got their pizza handed off to them. I had my little magic trick real quick with a kid was there, and boom, and that would give me a tip. And sometimes I would make $5 a house. And that is how I funded all of my blown accounts. Because I made the mistake of doing a Nations Bank. The Nations Bank doesn't exist anymore, but I took $2,600 off a Nations Bank credit card. That was my first soiree in real trading. And I worked really hard to pay that off and did it again, funded another account with it, $2,600. So it wasn't easy for me. We didn't have funded accounts back then. And frankly, that wasn't enough money to trade with. Looking back now, it was like no wonder it was so easy for me to fail then. I wasn't properly funded. I had too little money, no experience, off the charts expectations, unrealistic expectations. Yeah, I know some of you are thinking this is supposed to be a short one. Well, you know what happens when I say it. You love it. Don't fucking act like you don't.